Syria and to all the people in it. And imagine them living in harmony and peace. Imagine our own cities here in the United States, where the police and the citizens live in peace and harmony. Imagine a political discourse where we don't call each other names, but that we respect each other and live in peace and harmony. Take a moment to see it, to feel it, to know it. Henry David Thoreau said, "The world is but a canvas to the imagination." If you're like me in that little exercise right now where we try to imagine those things when we do imagine world peace, there's these little creeping images that flash across my mind. Pictures of the Syrian refugee children, the boy on the beach, the unbelievable pain and sorrow of mothers whose sons and daughters have been gunned down. Fortunately, our canvas is not blank. And even when we try to imagine a world without peace, a world with peace, a world without peace creeps into our thought system. A world full of pain and of lack, and the 24-hour news cycle infiltrates our thinking. And our imaging becomes muddled. And sometimes what we image is the cessation of war by victory of good over evil. But those are only temporary. We cannot end hate with more hate. We cannot create peace with war. And you cannot foster love without giving love. Right? It doesn't work. But in our own world, in our own imagination, what is it that we're creating? What is it, the lens? What is the lens that we are looking at life through? Is it a lens of pain and suffering? Or can we really, really imagine a world without peace, with peace? I keep doing that. So let's look at that. Because all I seem to see is a world without peace. Dr. Freud is calling me. Right? I know the lesson I'm supposed to be giving here, but the lesson I am giving here is obviously something different. That my own consciousness needs to be erased back to that blank canvas. Back to that understanding of all of it is possible on the outside. All of it is possible when I think it, when I know it. So as I was contemplating this talking about imagining our world, the imagination as the impetus for what we want to create, I knew that the lens I look through, the lens of male and female, gay and straight, black and white, native or immigrant, all those different lenses color my experience of the world, color how I relate and react to everyone. And the big one right now, of course, is Democrat and Republican, because it's all over the news. But it's only a lens. It's only a lens that keeps us separated, that keeps us distinct and removed from the experience of knowing the truth of who we are. from the experience of knowing that anything is possible and that we are, in truth, all one. That there's no real place where you end and I begin. Our skin is porous. We're all breathing the same air, exchanging all the same molecules. And scientists tell us that we're literally made of stardust. Right? That our physical bodies are so closely related to stardust that it is possible that falling stars are what created life here on Earth. Think about that. Think about that as your form of heaven. That we are just passing through this planet Earth, dropped here from the stars. The first line of that song is, imagine that there's no heaven. But what if you would imagine that there's only heaven? Heaven as a state of mind. Heaven as a state of consciousness. Heaven as an incredible white blank canvas. Or black canvas. I don't want to be discriminatory about it. A canvas where you get to write everything you want on it. So what I've been wrestling with this week and what I want to bring to us is that the way to imagine a world of peace is to imagine each and every individual relationship as peaceful. Imagine yourself with, here's an idea. Everybody think of a person right now that you're in conflict with. Or think of a person that you think is unworthy. Right? Everybody got somebody? No one in the political world you think unworthy, Susan? Okay. Right? I thought that was everybody's got somebody. Right? And imagine your relationship with them personally. Walk up to them. You're right, close your eyes. Walk up to this person. Greet them. Find some wonderful thing to say to them. Let that statement of genuine appreciation land on them. Notice how they react. Notice how they respond. And notice the words they then say back to you. Imagine a world filled with this kind of peace. For until you imagine it in your own consciousness, you cannot take it out into the rest of the world. Now, I invite you to imagine some intractable situation. World hunger, disease, lead poisoning in the water. Imagine this thing that the world and the press and others will tell you will never be fixed, will never go away. And that is just too horrible to mention. And take a moment from your highest self to see the solution. To see the technological innovation happening right here and right now. See millions and millions of people coming together in love and kindness to solve the world's problem. And see yourself as one of those millions of people who are imagining and working for a solution. See yourself in the answer rather than projecting yourself into the problem. You know, when I was a little kid, I got fairly good grades in school. I wasn't a star student, but I did okay. But on all of my report cards, it says, Ken spends a lot of time daydreaming. Like that was a bad thing. Right? like that was somehow not what we were supposed to do. Ken spends a lot of time imagining. Wow, how horrible for Ken, right? Albert Einstein said, "The true sign of intelligence is not knowledge, but imagination." Right? Albert Einstein used to imagine himself riding along with a particle at the speed of light. He used to imagine himself going through the cosmos at the speed of light to another destination with this little tiny light particle running right alongside of him. Now, I don't know how that worked for him, but that kind of imagination enabled him to come up with a theory of relativity. Right? I don't have that kind of knowledge. But wow, to have that kind of imagination, to see yourself going from the sun to the distant ends of the galaxy, right? And going along for the journey. That's what we all need to foster in ourselves. That kind of sense of curiosity. But what has happened to us in our lives is we went to school. And any kind of creativity and individuality and nothing was beaten out of us. I went to Catholic school. Okay? Literally in those days was beaten out of us. But it couldn't really. It couldn't. Because I'm still imagining my life magnificent every day. But the whole education system that most of us grew up in was designed so that we would learn how to do rote, repetitive tasks. That the millions and millions of us who went through public schools and private schools and all the schools in the Western world were taught how to perform the tasks that needed to be done to keep society running. Well, guess what? All those tasks are now being done by computers. And those of us who only learned how to do rote, repetitive tasks are finding themselves without a job. But imagine a world where creativity is honored, where creativity on an individual basis is celebrated. And I'm witnessing it right now. I'm so excited by it because my teenage son goes to high school, and the high school is so cool. It's a public high school here in the city. And they teach their English class and their history class and their American democracy class through a lab. And each different group, they come through these different labs, and they have to, instead of writing just an English paper, he has to write a gentrification paper about the mission where he goes to school. And instead of just having to write an English paper about some book he read, he gets to write a business plan for the business he wants to develop. Right? Right? We're like, right? Cool! And he's like, yeah, school. Right? But that kind of learning and that kind of teaching is what will transform the world. We'll find the jobs will be created because we are all creating them. The world will literally shift and there will be no lack and hunger. Imagine that everyone was empowered to find their own peace, to find their own happiness, to find their own joy. That it wasn't determined by the job you got from an employer. Right? Because everybody think, I'll be happy when I get that job. And how many times have we been disappointed by that? Right? How many times have we been disappointed when we think we will be happy when this happens? When I meet the yes, they're testifying today, right? Right? When I get that job, when I get that spouse, when I get that promotion, when I get that house, or that pair of fabulous Jimmy Choo shoes. That one works, she says. And yet, it all comes back to what we have to do. Our own inner work and our own imagination. Our own seeing it correctly. Everything, this is my quote now, everything already in your life is the platform for what could be. So don't complain about it anymore. Don't complain about the diagnosis. Don't complain about the apartment. Don't complain about the job. Don't complain about the spouse or the boyfriend or the girlfriend or the friend. Right? See it correctly. See it whole. See it as what it could be. That relationship could be the springboard that takes you to a higher level. That job could be, and that boss could be the impetus you need to quit and find a better one. Right? That promotion that you didn't get could be the opportunity to look within you and find out, okay, what's really setting me on fire? What would really make me get up in the morning? And just get up and do it. Right? To imagine it, to see it, to take that white canvas and paint it the way you want it to be. You know, like I started with, there's a lot of imprinted on this mind, in all of our minds, from the decades that we've lived here on the planet. All of those things have meaning. And sometimes the painting, the canvas is as intricate and multi-layered as the one behind me. But you can still color it. You can still shape it. It takes a little more conscious concentration. It takes a little bit more time of opening your heart and seeing and affirming over and over again the truth that I am the presence of peace in this situation. And bring peace to the people I think I'm at war with. And bring love, wasteful, abundant, infinite love to every relationship. And when we see it, it's peaceful. When we practice by visioning our lives, it manifests before us. Nothing, absolutely nothing in this world starts without a thought. A thought which turns into a belief, which turns into a reality, which then can turn into your bliss if you let it, if you allow it. So this week, ask yourself this question. What lens am I looking through? Am I looking through the lens of separation? Am I looking through the lens of limitation and lack? Or am I looking through a lens filled with love and kindness, filled with infinite possibility, and filled with hope, peace that pass all understanding? A simple question. Write it down, and everything you do this week, ask yourself, what lens am I looking through? It's up to you. It's up to you to choose what lens you're looking through. And then you get to live life through that lens. Simple. True. Scary. Let's take that to our time of meditation.